What's really good, my people? Welcome into No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Little. Big Nick the Quick is not here. He's got the evening off or the morning off. He's at work, but I got the big dog, Eli Caberon, with me. We're talking Bears week 4. It's in the books. We got a W. It's Victory Monday, so that already feels good to say. Justin Fields looked a lot better. There's a lot of things that go into that. We'll talk about that. But let's jump right into it, man. We're going to give you guys a quick 30 minutes on how we felt about the Bears in week 4, getting the W at home against the Lions 24-14. Big Eli, let me bring you in straight away. How'd you feel about the game? What were your initial thoughts? And then we could kind of get into the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, my initial thoughts were it was great to see Justin Fields playing like the player that all of Chicago wanted him to be. We saw downfield throws. We saw him moving out of the pocket. We saw his athleticism, his arm strength. So that was fantastic. The defense, I thought, played really well for the most part. And the coaching, it improved over last week because Matt Nagy, it seems to let up the reins a little bit. He let Bill Lazor call the plays for the most part. You could still see a little Nagy influence here or there, but overall, it was a big upgrade from the Cleveland game the week before.
No doubt about it. I think the biggest question mark going into the week was because, listen, I'm on record saying I really do not care how well Justin Fields plays.
Right.
I just really want him to get in there and get reps. Then we could start talking about, is this guy good enough to be a franchise quarterback down the road? But for now, let him get in there, get reps. That's exactly what he did yesterday. And he showed a ton of flashes on why we think he could be, the quarterback for the next 10, 12 years and be very impactful. The biggest question mark for me going into the game was who's going to be calling the plays, who's going to be running the offense. I got confirmation via a couple people on Twitter, a couple different accounts, a couple things I was reading that it was going to be Lazor. But I didn't need to read that before the game after I saw about 2 drives.
Right.
If I didn't know that Lazor was calling the plays, I knew from using my own 2 eyes watching the game that this is a little different. This doesn't feel like a Matt Nagy offense. And I think the biggest thing that shouted that was we're going to get David Montgomery the ball early, often, and just pound it down their throat, especially in the beginning of the game.
Yeah, and you saw them coming out in 3 tight end sets, which is what we talked about last week. If you're not going to use the tight ends in the passing game, use them as blockers. And you saw J.P. Holtz out there, you saw Jesse James out there blocking, you saw Fields under center a lot, which you don't ever see under a Matt Nagy play call. Instead of spreading them out, how about you just go under center and hand the ball off to your best player? And that's what they did, and that was fantastic to see. I agree. It was clear that Lazor's influence was let's simplify this for our rookie quarterback. Make one read, hand it off, figure out how to move the ball. Don't overcomplicate it. And I thought that was great for any quarterback, but especially a rookie that doesn't have the reps. Playing a Lions defense that's not that good, don't overcomplicate it. Just make it easy for him.
Just get him comfortable, cozy in the beginning of the game at least.
Yeah.
Give it to Montgomery, run it down their throat. Montgomery had a great game. I'm a little nervous about that injury. I know they came out and said it was hyperextended. I know they got tests this morning. I haven't seen anything come out yet. But Montgomery had a great game, 23 carries, 106 yards. It's 4.5 a clip, 2 touchdowns. Long run was 24 yards. So he was doing his thing. I'm not sure if this guy just got in the gym crazy this summer or he's actually just getting the ball now. So we're seeing him a lot more and can see that explosiveness, but he looks a lot more explosive. He looks a lot more nimble. He's making guys miss. He looks a lot quicker and faster.
I thought so too.
So I just all around and in his second year as a pro, he looks like a stud.
Third. He's his third.
Third year. Excuse me. Yeah. He looks like a stud. So
and the thing we've talked about before is that I love about Montgomery is he always falls forward. If you give him the ball, he's going to at least get it back to the line of scrimmage, and he's going to take defenders with him. And that is just – you don't want guys that are going to get pushed back. And you saw – and this is where I felt that the Nagy influence still came about. They get down the first drive into the red zone. What do we see first play? End around to Goodwin. Why? And then he loses 2 yards. It's why are you doing this silly, you have to prove that how smart you are. Just hand the ball off to the guy that you know is going to get consistent yardage. Montgomery is going to move the chains. the lateral stuff, the reverses, the end arounds, the shovel passes. We've seen this from Nagy for 5 years now. It seems like it doesn't work. Stop doing this.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you're doing it, when you're getting success out of
just running straight ahead.
Just run. You're getting success running straight ahead. So how about you continue to do that and run the 3 tight end sets and stuff like that, then run the play action. I thought the game plan, I don't know who wrote the game plan up or who Laser called most of the game, it seemed like, but the game plan I thought was really, really thought out. It was like, hey, we're going to try to get success running the ball. Then we're going to run play action and move the pocket. And then we'll start to drop him back and then he'll have some more time. He showed straight away that if you give him some time, he could get some shit done down the field. Like, right. Simple as that. I have a clip pulled up. For those listening, you might get it off of the Gus Johnson call, but this was the best throw. This was like the corner route to Allen Robinson. I want to show this clip because this is one of the best throws I've seen from a Bears quarterback in a long, long time. It was on time, it was on point, and it was in a very, very tight window. Here's Justin Fields to Allen Robinson.
Play fake, Fields sets, delivers deep. Got it! Allen Robinson. 28 yards. Justin Fields is pitching that rock today.
And that's what Allen Robinson does. Nice play action. You see him just runs a big corner route. And this is what he do, Gus. 50.
By the way, give me Gus Johnson and Aqib Talib. You know how we always got stuck with Dick Stockton? You know what? Stick us with Gus Johnson. Like that should be, give us that dude every week in Talib. I'll take that every single week. It was a big time throw, and it was. Hey, I don't know about you, Eli, but every time or over the years, I've just come accustomed to when I see the ball go down the field, I just am not very. Do you ever watch Aaron Rodgers and when he lets it go? Right. I'm like, oh, that's a completion. Like, I'm not even like, forget about the next frame. I already know that's a catch. I've come to accustomed to when the ball goes downfield, I'm just like, nah, there's just no way. But he dropped back in confidence, planted, everything was in rhythm. He had time. So I felt good about it when it came off his hand. He put it in a window that we haven't seen from a Bears guy in quite a bit.
Yeah, and you saw, first off, it was under center, play action. So, like, it brought defense in. But it was against the zone, which is like Trubisky struggled every time against zone defenses. He could never beat them. Foles, we saw last year, couldn't throw the ball down the field. Dalton, I mean, we haven't had a big sample size with Dalton, but he does not have the arm strength, I don't think, at this point in his career to make those kind of vertical downfield throws. We saw time and time again yesterday. That throw was fantastic, but there was a few of them where Fields can stretch the field because of his arm strength. And, like, that is something that the Bears passing attack has not had for a long time. Like, since vintage Cutler with Marshall and Jeffrey on the outside, like, we have not had a vertical passing game for at least 5-6 years. And that just opens up the whole offense when you can get that working. And that's going to be a huge key for the remainder of the season if Fields remains as quarterback, because he can do those things that Dalton cannot do.
Yeah, absolutely. Big Nick the Quick, I guess, is in the comments. He's at work. He had a little work meeting. He couldn't make it. But he said, and I quote Big Nick the Quick, Laser understood his personnel. Great flow. Of course, afterwards in the press, I'm going to actually get to the Nagy post-game presser quote after. But, yeah, he understood the flow, understood the personnel. Just give the rock to your best guys. How about this? Put the best guys on the field and then give those guys the ball as much as you can. Right. And we're to talk about another guy that is becoming one of the best players we have on the entire team is Darnell Mooney.
Yeah.
This kid is just a ball player. I think it was bigger than it looked for him to go over the middle and catch that ball with one hand and kind of bring it in with two. It was Fields' first ball down the field. So I don't know if you want to say he was nervous or whatever, but he missed the throw.
If that was a better throw, that was a touchdown.
Yeah, he missed the throw, right? But for Mooney to go up there and make a play for him and bring that down, that had to give Justin some more confidence, especially, was that the first or the second drive? I think it was the first drive.
I think that was the first drive. Yeah, first quarter.
I think it was the first drive. So to get that big catch coming across the middle, was big for, I think, the offense in general. But 5 catches, 125 for Mooney. He's not catching a lot of short balls in his career. It's a very short sample size, but man, it seems like every time he catches the ball, it's deep. It's 20+ yards. And yesterday he went for 5 and 125.
He's the guy that the Bears thought Anthony Miller was supposed to be.
Yeah.
That vertical seam threat. Like he's a fantastic player. That was a great draft pick by Ryan Pace. I'll give him credit for that one because Mooney is a player.
No doubt about it. He is a player. Long of 64 yesterday. So I do want to get into Nagy and what we're gonna do going forward. I mean, also listen, if we want to be serious, let's actually talk about the D for a second.
Yeah.
I didn't think they played that well. They came up big in certain spots when they needed to, especially Quinn and those guys. It was awesome to see Quinn get a strip, Mac pick it up, and then Mac shovel it to Jackson. I don't care if they brought it back or not. It was awesome to see. It just felt like Bears fun defensive football. Like that. I remember I called Nick right after the play, and I was like, that's the fucking defense I've been waiting to see, and the fun and the interaction and the cohesiveness of a unit, for Quinn to come off the edge, get the strip, for Mac to be there to pick it up, to get up and run, and then Eddie still full go on the play trying to make a play. You know what I'm saying? So that was big time. But they did give up some chunk yards. They gave up 348 total yards to the Lions.
Yeah.
They were in the red zone often yesterday.
Too much time. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Lions beat themselves more than the Bears stopped them.
Yeah, I agree with that. And listen, a W is a W, and I'll take it all day, 24-14. But I would like them to be a little more smothering, like what they did to Joe Burrow and those guys. But even towards the end of that game, it started to get shaky. You know what I'm saying? So I still think there's some question marks on the D. But we got to show some love to Robert Quinn. I buried this guy for 17 weeks in a row last year, and I buried him all offseason. Every time I look at the cap, I buried him. I just couldn't believe it, right? But he's shown up this year. He's done his thing. He's been making impact plays across the board, and he's Khalil Mack right now, if that makes sense. The guy that we thought we had in Mack is Robert Quinn right now, and Mack isn't making a bigger impact as we would like to, but Quinn is doing his thing.
I mean, that was kind of the whole point of bringing Quinn in, is like if Mack's going to get double teamed, that means one-on-one for the other side. Right. You got to make something happen, and finally Quinn is doing that. Yeah, I mean, it hurt that Akeem Hicks went out in the first drive of the game and couldn't come back. It was nice to see Eddie Goldman back out there for the first time in 2 years. But, yeah, the defensive performance was up and down. I liked Vildor. I think he thought he played well on the outside, but they still got burned a couple times. That Raymond guy that I had never heard of before scored 2 touchdowns, which, that was weird.
Yeah.
They struggle with tight ends, and Hawkinson had his normal big game. But the Lions beat themselves. I had never seen a team snap the ball and fumble like that. That was just a very Lions-y thing to do, and the Bears took advantage, which credit to them. But yeah, that was not necessarily the best defensive performance that you're going to need to beat teams down the road. They play the Raiders next week. They play the Packers after that. Those teams are not going to be snapping the ball to their center when he's walking towards the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, for sure. I give the Bears fans some credit for being loud. It looked like Goff was trying to make a check or something and do something at the line. They got crossed up and he got the snap. But yeah, I agree, man. In both wins, the Bengals started coming on late, and it started to get kind of spooky in this game late too.
Yeah,
they're not going to be able to leave that window open for, like you said, for the Raiders, for the Packers, and and all that worry about Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. That shit is done. That was a week 1 thing. They're back rolling, and I watched that whole game yesterday. Pittsburgh's really, really bad, but Aaron Rodgers, he needed 1 week to get his shit together, and now he's back being Aaron Rodgers. So
I mean, put it this way: the Lions were 1 or 5 in the red zone. The Packers are not going to have 5 trips to the red zone and come away with 1 touchdown. That's not going to happen.
It's flat, just like that. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
So let's get to Nagy really quick, because I thought this quote was, I guess, interesting. I've said this multiple times, and I'll get into it after. But they gave Nagy the question, of did you delegate play calling? And this was his answer. This is the most Matt Nagy answer ever. And for those listening on screen, I don't have it pulled up, but this is him. This is Matt Nagy on did he delegate the play calling? This is kind of long, so bear with me. That goes back to what we talked about internally through the whole week. Whatever I can do, the best thing for the best, whatever it is. I think that, again, for us, I think big picture, so we all understand it, is, the offense in general. We get together on Monday as a staff, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We go through everything together. Ultimately, it goes through me. Everything we do, regardless of everything else. Who's calling this? Who's calling that? It goes through me. That part I appreciate because we do it together. Hold on. Hold on, my bad. Then there's collaboration to how we do it. I thought our coaches did a great job today. I thought our coaches executed, which is what we asked for. Again, with all due respect, I understand the question, but that's what it is. And that's what it's going to be the rest of the year. And it's just knowing whatever happens, it goes through me, and we've done it together. What?
Yeah.
No, listen, first of all, that's a whole bunch of I don't even
word salad. It's word salad.
Word salad to the 9th degree. It's like, hey, I want to give Laser a lot of credit, but I can't give him too much credit. Like, don't forget that everything comes through me.
Right.
We have meetings and shit, and plays may be delegated, but it all ends with me. I think there's so many opportunities where he gets on the mic and he just talks too much.
Yeah.
I've said this multiple times. He just gets on the mic and spews. And it's just like, hey, listen, we came up with a game plan. Bill called a great game. We locked it in the middle of the week. I'm glad Justin's back on track. Like, what is all this extra shit? It's how did you perceive the whole quote?
It just seems like, does he think that Bears fans don't assume that they're meeting throughout the week and like planning for the game? Like they just show up to work on Sunday and like, oh, let's divvy up responsibilities. Like, no, we all know that you guys are meeting and discussing this Monday through Friday. Like, this is not a big revelation. Like, right. Like, just step aside and you can like, yeah, get your credit and say like, yeah, we all worked on this together. We decided that it was best for Bill to call the plays on Sundays. I'm still the head coach, so I definitely have my say, but this was a Bill laser run offense, and we scored 24 points, and we're very happy with the win. Like, move on. Like, I don't understand why he has to go on and on and on about, oh, this collaboration. We did this all together, blah, blah, blah. We know. That's how a coaching staff works. Like, you don't have to pump yourself up. You get the credit. You're the head coach. It goes in your win column. Just shut up and move on. Like,
yo, that's the thing. It's like, it goes in, you get the W, my man. This is the same sentence. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We go through everything together. Ultimately, it goes through me. Everything we do, regardless of everything else. Who's calling this? Who's calling that? It goes through me. In the first part of the sentence, he's saying we do it all together. We meet all week. It's a team game plan, but it's me. I do it.
Right.
It's ultimately me. Don't think that. Don't forget that. When Justin throws a touchdown and has a good game, I had a lot to do with that. Like, don't forget that. Right. Then he closes it. But that's what it is, and that's what it's going to be the rest of the year. It's just knowing whatever happens, it goes through me, and then he goes, and we've done it together. This is the same. It's like, come on, bro. I get it. I understand. Do you just feel like he
wouldn't even commit to Laser being the play caller next week? Like, they're going to reevaluate this? What do you need to reevaluate? Like, compared to the Cleveland game, it's light and day. There's no evaluation needed.
Well, I think this is what it comes down to. He feels like if you strip him of the play calling duties,
right,
or a major part of being influencing the offense during the game, I'm talking about, he kind of feels like he's expendable, which he is.
Right.
That's what it comes down to. And even go back to last year when Laser he gave up the play calling. He came under pressure about giving up the play calling. He gave it up and then, like, on the sly, slowly took it back.
Yeah.
And either way it goes, the offense was bad in a lot of different spots, but I still think Laser was doing a better job in big stretches. So we'll see what happens next week. But like you said, it's going to start getting tough here. We don't play the Lions in the play the Lions every week.
And the Bengals, yeah.
And the Bengals, yeah. Bengals are good, but I mean, Burrow threw 3 interceptions on 3 straight passes. Right. That's not that, and we won by what? I think we won by 3 points.
Yeah, you can't count on that.
Yeah, exactly. Anything else you got before we get out of here?
I mean, my thing on Nagy is yes, if he wants to be influenced and have a responsibility, that's where you're coaching Monday through Friday, like he talked about. That's where it is. Like maybe on Sundays, your job is to make sure that the timeouts are handled correctly. Make sure that down in situation, okay, I don't want to give up on the running game to where like you can influence that without necessarily calling the plays. That's sure. A lot of head coaches do that, but it seems like his ego won't allow him to draw back. Like we talked about earlier.
Ego. His ego is enormous.
The Bears move down the field. I got to get my end around in. Don't forget that I run this. I call this play. Just chill out. Like let the other dude handle it. And if it's going bad in the 3rd or 4th quarter, maybe then you step in. But he just can't even step aside for one drive, and it just drives me as a Bears fan nuts because the proof is that when he calls plays, the offense doesn't do as well as when Laser calls plays. So let Laser get into a rhythm and figure out how to do this. They won't even commit to next week. It just hurts me that they can't even take 2 steps forward without tripping over themselves. It's just insane.
And then that's also an interesting point too. Just like anybody else and players have to get into a rhythm, Laser's got to get into a rhythm too and get a couple of weeks here back to back where, Justin Fields is getting all the ones in practice and they're putting a game plan together that he's focused on. So yeah, I think that's also a big thing. For as many, it didn't seem like this, but Fields only completed 11 passes. They had 188 yards on the ground, the Bears did, on 39 team carries. So I think that was the best way to get Justin back on track coming off the game that he did last week in Cleveland. He was 11 of 17 yesterday, 209 yards, 12 yards a clip, no touchdowns, had a pick, but it was a solid game. I think there was a lot of eyebrow raising throws where I was like, okay, this is what.
It was night and day compared to he had time to throw, which obviously makes a huge difference. But yeah, you could see him stretching the football down the field, finding open windows. He didn't have a touchdown, and that interception was off a deflection. I think that's a learning process for him. Like you had talked about earlier, we're not expecting him to be Aaron Rodgers from week 1. We just want to see his growth, his development, get better one week to the next, and take what he did and learn from it. And that interception, he probably threw the ball too low, and he got deflected, and it got intercepted, and he'll hopefully go back and watch the film and figure out that that's not going to work in the NFL. But that's what happens to a rookie quarterback. These unrealistic expectations, people need to realize he's still a rookie quarterback.
Sure.
And the more time he's out there, the more he'll learn. It's crazy that playing football helps a football player improve. I just don't. Again, Nagy's well, if Dalton is healthy, maybe he'll start. How is that beneficial to the Chicago Bears to leave Justin Fields on the bench after a strong performance like this? He wants to prove that he's smarter than everybody else, and it just hurts.
I'm interested to see what Nagy comes out and says about the quarterback position this week. It's going to be interesting. This is the only knock I have on Justin Fields from yesterday. When he had that fumble and he went back to pick it up and he didn't dive on it and he scooped it up, I almost had a heart attack because I'm like, there's just no way he's going to scoop this up.
That to me reminds me, it looks like someone that has been the biggest, fastest, strongest player in every game he's played in, in high school, in college. He could always just, I have the natural talent. And in the NFL, no, you have to fall on it and just live to see another day.
That's a good point. Hey, I might pick this up and get outside and make a completion with this. Nah, man,
you're not playing Rutgers this week.
This is not Rutgers, that's for sure. This is the NFC, and you're not. Just fall on that, my dog. That's the only thing I had. There was some video that came up of him giving out some things to the kids after the game. He looked to be in high spirits, so that was good, man. It's good to see him interacting with the kids and that type of thing. Me and Nick will be in Vegas next week for the Raiders. We are very excited for that. Hopefully,
it's going to be a lot of Bears fans there.
It's going to be a lot of Bears fans, so I'm stoked about that. Hopefully, we get Fields. That was our biggest thing. I remember we were arguing, man, is Fields going to be playing by then? Maybe we shouldn't do it. Maybe we should. But who knows when the next time the Bears are going to play the Raiders. So I wanted to make sure I caught it in Vegas. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Dope.
I want to see Allegiant Stadium. Maybe I can get a preview of what the plot is going to look like out in Arlington. I didn't realize that SoFi is $5.5 billion, and then the next most expensive is Allegiant at $1.98. I just kind of assumed that Allegiant was like at 5.2. I didn't realize SoFi was like almost 3 times the price of some of these other buildings. It's crazy.
It's great. I mean, from what I've read about SoFi, it's not only a football stadium, it's a TV studio, it's shops and restaurants and all that stuff. And I mean, the Bears have the land. If that Arlington deal goes through, they have the square footage comparable to what SoFi is.
Right.
Do they have them? They don't have that Stan Kroenke money though. Like that's the problem.
Yeah. Someone will. Yeah. I mean, this could be a whole nother podcast, but it depends on what direction they want to go. I really hope they don't shortchange it, but I think it's going through.
Yeah, it seems like it.
I don't see why it wouldn't. I mean, listen, it'll be cool to get the Super Bowl and all that shit. And
so you think they put a roof on it?
I think they would put a roof on it for sure. Yeah, I think. I don't think they would half-ass it. I think they would put listen, I would think people would be telling them here. Well, this is the thing. I say that they would put a roof on it because I think the biggest thing about this is money. And putting a roof on it's going to get more events.
Right. But it costs more up front.
Costs more up front, but you're going to get more events, more stuff going on, and they're going to eventually, line that pocket, especially if, listen, they could find some people to put a majority of the money up and give up a good lion's share of profits for, say, the first 5-10 years, whatever it is. But after that, clear it out. I mean, there's tons of ways to go, but I do think they put a roof on it just because they'll have more events, which will line the McCaskey's pockets with more money. I think they're sick of giving the money to the city, which I understand.
Right. And the thing about if it's an outdoor event or an outdoor stadium only, you're going to build this whole thing for 10 dates a year, like 20, like at what, if you get concerts and soccer games, 20 dates a year, then what are you going to do the rest of 355? Like it doesn't make any sense. Yeah. I agree. Like, yes, with a roof, you also need to air conditioning and heating. And there's a lot that goes into that, but it's worth it long-term because of how many things you can host once you have that indoor-outdoor capability.
Sure. And if they were smart, just like Ricketts did, they should buy up everything around. They should make that McCaskey fucking land. That's what they should do. If just like Ricketts owns the entire neighborhood of Wrigleyville. He just owns the whole thing. That's Rickett land. So you would think they could build up that area around that part of town or part of Arlington, make it McCaskey land, and seemingly make money for the next 100 years.
I love the people though that are like, it's not in Chicago. What are they going to do? Like, if you've watched Sunday Night Football the last 2 weeks, 2 weeks ago they're showing down like San Francisco Bay. Oh, and then they're in Santa Clara. They're nowhere near each other. And then last night, there's downtown Boston. Oh, the game's in Foxborough. That's further than downtown Chicago to Arlington. Like, who cares? Like, the Dallas Cowboys have never played in Dallas. Like, it doesn't matter what the geography is. Like, in most major sports, I feel like you need to be in the geographic center. Nobody's going out to watch a baseball game in Arlington Heights. But the NFL, people will travel for that. Like, who cares if it's not? Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's not geographically convenient. People will go. I think it makes perfect sense if they can find the money to do it, to build that type of place.
Yeah, I was a big, don't do it guy. But then I started looking at just like the business side of it. I get it. I understand what they got to do to make some money. It was just some nostalgic, I think, for me, just playing by the lake and all that type of shit. So
it would be great if they could do that, but there's just so many factors. There's just no space.
There's no space, man. There's nowhere to put it. I get it. So yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see what they do with that. It'd be dope to go to a new building in the Chicagoland area. We'd get this. We'd guarantee a Super Bowl the next couple of years. The Super Bowl is at SoFi this year. If you build a new building, the NFL is going to get you a Super Bowl. So that'd be big for the city. Be a lot of stuff going on. But we're in Vegas. I think I'm going to vlog the game. It'll be a lot of fun. Me and Nick will be there. Bears are at the Raiders next week, late afternoon game, second wave. Hopefully it's Justin Fields under center. Hopefully we can get a W. Hopefully the Raiders win tonight against the Chargers. So
get some buff.
Yeah, they're even a little more feeling themselves than they already are. So give me a overinflated John Gruden, and I'll take that all day. But for Eli Cabron, I'm your host, Sean Little. Make sure you subscribe everywhere, man. No Catch Up, Sports Talk via Chicago. We do these Bears recaps every week. Like I said, for Eli Cabron, I'm Sean Little. No Catch Up, Sports Talk via Chicago. We're out of here.